Hello and welcome to my degree show. My name is Charles Hearn. I'm a student that has just completed my 4th year of the Creative Sound Production course in Abertay University. This video shows you the work that I've carried out for my final year. Before I go into depth about my project, I'm going to give you some background about the project and its formation and development from the original ideas to the final project. Previous research that I undertook in my 3rd year was attempting to recreate the immersive experience the listeners get from surround sound via headphones. The reasoning for this project was to give the listeners the same level of experience when they were not in the environment that permitted the use of surround sound to give that experience. The focus of this current project comes from the same kind of viewpoint to understand further the area of directional cues within audio. Directional cues are something that can be described as the directional information that is conveyed within the sound. Directional cues are important to listening experience to give the listener the ability to feel as if they were in the environment that they are hearing, therefore increasing the experience and the realism of the content that they are listening to. This project aims to understand directional cues and the attributes that are able to be conveyed within the sound that listeners hear. The research question is going to be answered by undertaking a number of tasks. These tasks include selecting the microphone techniques that are going to be tested, undertaking recording sessions using the microphones as a testing mechanism. The final task that will need to be undertaken is a listener testing session to determine the accuracy of the different microphone techniques. 7 microphone techniques were selected for testing within the study. The different techniques were selected to offer a widest selection as possible. All of the techniques that have been selected are still currently in use in different areas of audio today. The techniques that were selected were binaural dummy head, a Blumen pair, a Jecklin disc, mid-side technique, ORTF, a spaced pair, and an XY technique. Before going on to the next area, I'd like to talk about the microphones that were used for the different techniques. With the exception of the binaural dummy head, the same 2 microphones were used for all of the techniques. A stereo match pair of AKG C414s were used for all of the different techniques. The AKGs were selected for the study because of their ability to have different polar patterns. A polar pattern, or sometimes referred to as a pickup pattern, is the area around the microphone that sound is gathered. You can see on screen an image that shows you the most common polar patterns that are used in microphones. Within the study, the AKGs were used in 3 different polar patterns. They were omnidirectional, cardioid, and bidirectional. The binaural dummy head microphone was built by me for my 3rd year project. This microphone is different because of the attempt to recreate the physicality of the human head and therefore capturing sound as if a human had heard it. The testing mechanism that was developed for the study had to have a couple of factors in mind when the design was undertaken. These were the ability to have something that was easily replicable and was not going to differ when testing different microphone techniques. After some thought, the concept of having multiple speakers that played sound was to be used as the sound emanating source. The reason for this was that the speakers would not move during the testing sessions, whereas if a live musician had been used, this may have caused issues with being slightly off-center or having problems with tuning of instruments. 5 speakers were used in total in the testing process. The speakers that were used for the testing were Genelex 8030As. The 8030s are speakers that are used in recording studios for their accurate sound. They were also available for use in the Whitespace Recording Studio in Abertay University. Originally it was proposed to have 1 speaker arrangement. After a discussion with Kenny McAlpine, one of the lecturers at Abertay University, it was clear that by doing this, the only result that would be possible out of this would be showing that a particular microphone technique was good at reproducing sound from a particular place. After thought, the decision was made to have 3 different speaker locations that would represent 3 different physical locations of sound. One was in front with the speakers at different heights. One was with the speakers above and below to see if the height information made a difference, and the final one was with speakers who were arranged in the rear. Obviously, using speakers, the next thing to work out with the project was what was going to be played back on the speakers. The original concept was to play back a musical piece but split the different instruments to different speakers. so that, say, the drums would come out of one speaker and then the vocals out of another, and so on. The issues with this idea was that, say, if the musical recording that was being played had an acoustical signature, then this may impact upon the final recordings that were going to be used. The decision was made to use directly recorded or synthetic samples, so this problem could be avoided. The samples that were used came from the Platinum Loops website. The user testing was the last main task that had to be undertaken to evaluate the accuracy of the different microphone techniques. In the formation of the user testing design, there were a number of areas that required further investigation before going ahead with the testing. When considering how to design the questionnaire, there were issues with the way in which the participants were going to be asked questions. If the users had been asked questions in a written format, then there would be issues regarding the understanding that the participants had of the questions that they were being asked. After having a conversation with one of my lecturers in Abertay, Peter O'Hare, it was decided that the user questionnaire should be of a non-written form of questioning and should be clear and not have to have a large understanding or use technical terms to describe things. The final questioning mechanism that was used was a circle that the participants were able to plot where they thought the sound had come from. You can see on the screen that they were able to plot what direction they thought the sound came from and what height and distance from the centre that they thought it was. The 3 different questions were asked for each sample that was played to them, and there were 5 samples per microphone technique that they listened to. Overall, there were a total of 9 participants within the study. Here are a few of the participants' plots that were used within the study. In conclusion to the whole process, the technique that stood out as having the most correct directional answers was the binaural dummy head microphone. There is much more in this project that has not been covered within the video. If you'd like more information, then please go to the website at the end of the video. Also, if you'd like to get in touch about this or other projects that I've carried out, please do so. Finally, I'd like to thank everyone that has participated within this research and has given me their time to bring this to fruition. Thank you.